So it looks like he's going to switch to, I assume, arbiters actually fairly quickly, because usually that's surprising actually. Going for arbiters, also putting down a 4 gen is inside 3 o'clock. I still don't see the Templar archive though, and I still don't see this, or I see the Citadel but not a Templar archive yet. So I might be off on that. He might put down the second gateway shortly along with the fleet beacon off the 3 gas. We'll see momentarily here. And so, yeah, now he's putting down a fleet beacon in the second gateway, so he is in fact going big air instead of the arbiter. Yes. So, and we'll see there are no Goliaths being produced in the meantime, and still no Comsat as well. Armory is being produced though, and wow, a lot more factories being put down. So we're going to see a total of 7 factories for Spades, and it's still only 4 gateways. Actually, no, 3 more gateways being put down. That's the advantage having that observer information, I guess. Just sensing it, I guess, because he's going to have 7 gateways up momentarily. Already upgrading weapons 1. Nony moving out a little bit. Looks like he's just kind of getting some dragoons out in the field to check things out. He's doing pretty well as far as supply. If I'm going to get a general supply count, I'm going to say he's actually significantly ahead as far as just pure tank production. Spades is kind of dedicating a lot of forces again, a little bit worried. It looks like he has the academy up now. Let's see if he gets the comsat down. The question is will he be in time? Fleet beacon is now up, and that first carrier is being produced. So it's got a lot of lag here. Sorry. Wait for it here. Let's see how many we might have to end up losing some of our spotters here. But yeah, now the Stargate is up. We're going to be producing carriers shortly here. So the question is Spades will have an opportunity if he decides to push up with a lot of the tanks that he's producing right at the right moment. He might be able to catch Nony, but anyway, we'll see. He's getting the both comsats up, and the other question is will he be able to comsat and be able to see that backside? Yeah, 2 carriers being produced right now. Whether he can comsat up and basically get that information. And actually saying he doesn't lag. Nony looks like he's setting up. He's going to take another expansion at the mineral and just use the mineral only in the the 4 o'clock position, and try to, I guess, rely on cannons to defend that. He has dragoons placed there right now. They're kind of pinned in. In the meantime, third gas going up for. I'm surprised that third gas hasn't been down this far. And those 7 factories just producing now. Some Goliaths being produced, and weapons 1 also being upgraded. The question is will it be enough? I think a comsat and third Stargate going down for Nony. So Nony looks like he's going to do some pure dedication to carriers here, and a large force gathered up from Spades. Still no carrier out, and Nony's going to have to put up a pretty decent defense. He does have a lot of zealots, and looks like a control group and a half of dragoons out in the meantime. To defend against this, and he also has that observer out in the field spotting for him to see when this force is. It looks like he's going to send an observer a little bit backside. It looks like he has the wow, doing great micro there to avoid getting hit by the turrets though. So now it's pushing out. That observer is going to see that big push. Now bring the dragoons back to the middle of the map, and actually no, it looks like he's going to go around for a flank. So Nony brings some forces. He's going to try to pull an end around. It seems here. Actually, no, he's just going to try to pin those forces in while they're in transit, maybe. And it looks like a drop shuttle was just pushed in there. It looks like that drop shuttle is going to be killed really quickly, though, before it can even drop a zealot. A lot of lag happening here, and now Nony just trying to engage, just trying to buy himself some time so those carriers come in. It looks like he's already produced 2 of the carriers, starting to push up to the field. They're at the secondary. It's not going to be enough though. Actually, no, it might be enough because there's only about 5 Goliaths. If those Goliaths can be picked off early, will make the difference. I still don't see a Templar Archives in Psystorm. You really want Psystorm against a large amount of Goliaths, and Spades pushing in with a bunch of tanks, a bunch of vultures. He does have the carrier overhead, and just absolutely just devastating here. So those zealots really need to pick off the Goliaths here in the group if they're going to stand a chance. See, 1 Goliath down. Looks like only more Goliaths starting to push up, and it looks like this is being decently picked apart. Still no weapons upgrades on either side, and Spades has completely devastated almost the entire ground force of Nony. Nony has some reinforcements pushing up now, and looks like he's able. Oh, Spades being a little careless there, pushing up with the Goliaths instead of with the tanks and the vultures, and losing 2 Goliaths there. A little bit careless. Now pushing up with the rest of the tanks, not bothering to siege them. Just going to try to. Obviously, doesn't want to siege them with those carriers kind of looming. And this is going to come down to it. Is if Nony can push, if Nony can hold this, he'll be in a very comfortable position to continue producing those carriers. However, if he cannot, man, and his force is just getting absolutely wiped out. He has taken out all the Goliaths, and he has 2 carriers hiding, basically pushing overhead, but just a ton of tanks streaming down underneath, and Nony does not have anything to fight against them. And more Goliaths, looks like they're starting to stream across. Looks like they're producing a little bit late. They aren't rally pointed in, and just, wow, trying to put up a little bit of defense. Some zealots stream down to try to take out the tanks. Looks like they are going to be able to push in because there's not a lot of vultures to protect, and there's those carriers overhead. And those carriers really doing a lot of damage. They've already got 9 kills, able to clean up those tanks in the meantime, and now it just looks like a couple vultures, and so it looks like Nony has managed to hold just a couple vultures pushing through. He's continuing to produce the carriers. He's got 4 carriers out and basically no ground forces otherwise. So the question is will Spades be able to kind of push out? It looks like he wasn't able to really rally enough troops out in the field in the meantime. He's got a couple just kind of loose troops all over the place, a couple mines out in the field to kind of deal with some zealots that are pushing out. Nony, it looks like he's just throwing out some zealots to sweep the mines, and now it looks like Nony is gathering up. He's in a very comfortable position now, pushing out of 3 Stargates. Looks like a couple vultures pushing up. They're just going to try to pick off what they can at that 3 o'clock expansion, since there's no cannon there, dropping a couple mines to deal with some zealots. They are going to be able to do a little bit of damage here, 9 o'clock, but the carriers, again, 3 carriers and some dragoons now pushing in otherwise, and now a Goliath being produced in the meantime, as well as tanks. Those 4 vultures very quickly taken care of, but they managed to get, I would say, about 8 kills worth of probes there at Nony's 3 o'clock, but keep in mind, Nony still has that mineral only in the, what is that, the 4 o'clock position. He can immediately start harvesting gas again, and now he's starting to push up. It looks like 4 carriers starting to push up on that natural expansion, but there's a control group and a half of, it looks like, level 1 weapon upgraded Goliaths waiting alongside, and I think in hold position they would be able to take out the interceptors, but there's some zealots and some unfortunately the zealots and the dragoons are not upgraded. Let's see if there's any tanks to supplement. There are about 3 tanks in the background to supplement. It looks like Spades is gathering up for another attack, so Nony isn't out of the woods yet. Still wow, absolutely pumping the carriers here. Doesn't look like he I guess, yeah, still upgrading that weapons 1, it looks like, on the carriers. Still upgrading weapons 1, hasn't had it finished. He's gathering up for an attack on the natural. A lot of Goliaths, and it looks like about 5 tanks waiting, trying to mine clear here with the observers. And so basically it's going to be 4 dragoons versus, and now backing off after he's cleared the mines. And Goliath's pushing up on the carriers, almost picked off one of the carriers, but the map artifact at the 12 o'clock position looks like he just managed to escape. And now just holding position, now actually backing those Goliaths off. I think he can still hold position with that weapons 1 and do a lot of damage. He did manage to take out a lot of those interceptors. Nony having to back off and resupply, and just absolutely pumping the Goliaths at this point. And I think the X factor again is Templar here. Nony has a lot of gateways. He's pumping a lot of zealots here and a lot of dragoons. Looks like he's going to push up with the zealots and dragoons, but I still think there's about 5 tanks there to deal with. Now the question is can Nony pick off the tanks? He has picked off 1 tank. Can he pick off 2 tanks? Only 3 tanks left. Only 2 tanks left. So these Goliaths are going to have a really hard time against this force. And it looks like no more tanks continue to be built. The tanks are completely down now. The zealot and dragoon force is going to be able to push in. That 3rd expansion at the 12 o'clock location is going to go down. I'm sorry, this was the 12 o'clock expansion, not the natural expansion, but it is going to be able to go down to this carrier dragoon force because those tanks were not protected, and so going to be able to push up here. Excellent micromanagement by Nony. In the meantime, more zealots being produced. Looks like 1 carrier down, but still these dragoons and these zealots pushing up. More tanks being set up, kind of a secondary force at the natural as a kind of protective force. Able to bait a couple of those zealots and able to take them out, but still that 12 o'clock expansion is in the breach here, and these carriers continuing to push in for Nony. It doesn't look like there's a lot of Goliaths to really deal with this in the meantime, and Spades is going to call GG right there. So great game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Ace match goes to Media, so Media ends up winning. They are the champions of Yankee League Season 1. So best team in North America officially.